Hi, this is Carol Watson, and I want to welcome you all to a new episode of Thrive Talk. And for those of you that are new to Thrive Talks, I want to let you know that the reason that we're getting together for this quick 20-minute chat is to give you some access to amazing people around the world that are doing fabulous things in our industry and give you the opportunity to learn the backstory and the inside information that they have to share and to ask them questions and to share your insights on how to be successful in our business. So please write some questions, share your comments and thoughts over the next week, and I'm sure our guests will be happy to respond to them. So I would like for you to join me in welcoming our guest this week, all the way from Austin, Texas, my new favorite city, Becky and Liz Arreaga from Mercury Mambo. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Hi.
Thanks for joining us. Be glad you're not in the snow.
We are. Yeah, we're happy to be here.
Thank you. So to kick us off, I know your bio is on your post as well as your company, but want to just kind of start us off in the conversation and learning more about what made you both take the leap from corporate and agency executive successful positions to having your own business.
Yeah, I guess I'll start. My name is Becky, and I was actually kind of at a point in my career at the advertising agency where I wasn't really seeing any additional opportunities. I had spent 10 years at the agency. It was my first out of college. I loved the place. I learned a lot. I had some great mentors, and the agency is now called Bromley Communications in San Antonio. And I really felt like I would never find that type of environment anywhere else. So that may have been a little naive in my thinking, but I thought, well, I find it anywhere for years. And it's such a great company. I loved every single minute I worked here. And I worked from the national side, I worked on the side, and then I worked in the field. And for me, it was like, I really liked Hispanic marketing and to move around in there and to going to other areas of the business. Although that would be fun, I really wanted to go, take a deep dive and really, focus in on Hispanic. And I was kind of in a place where it was just like, why not kind of way. So Becky and I decided to jump on and let's do it.
Awesome. So tell us more about Mercury Mambo. What is it? Where'd the name come from? What are you guys most actively involved in nowadays?
Yeah, that's a great question and a fun question. So Mercury Mambo is an experiential marketing agency. We have been in business now for this past year, just celebrated our 15th year anniversary. So this year is our Sweet 16. We are really laser focused on kind of bringing brands to that U.S. Hispanic millennial consumer. So creating brand experiences, whether it be offline at festivals and fairs, or at retail stores, or now even online with the emergence of social media and with Hispanics embracing that in such a powerful way. We're able to hear online about our brands. So that really is kind of our focus.
Yeah. When you create an experience for the brand and the consumers can touch or feel or taste or smell that product, it's kind of the last time you get that handshake with them. Whether it's at that point of purchase or out in the market, it just gives you a chance that handshake, and that handshake really becomes that point of difference between that brand and their competitor. And that's what makes me super excited about working in the experiential space. Because it really does connect to sales, and it does connect with consumers.
Oh, I totally get that. So, it's hard enough to have a business partner, and you have to really choose wisely. We're going to have some content about that on the site. And it's hard enough to be sisters, as I can share that personally. But how are you able to manage such a successful business for 15 years being sisters, and how do you divide the decision making?
Yeah, well, I tell the story that for my entire career I've either worked for my sister or with my sister. So when I was at the agency, she was actually my client for many of my years at the agency. But
for us, it really works. I mean, I think we've got complementary strengths. We're family, so at the end of the day, we're still going to be family, regardless if we agree or disagree. And for me, I always find it daunting for when I meet slow entrepreneurs that just start a business by themselves, because I can't imagine not doing it with somebody to be able to go through the good times, bad times, and have a resource to bounce those questions off or fears off, or talk me off the ledge or push me off the ledge sometimes.
Yeah, there were many times where we did that together. I mean, particularly the pushing off the ledge kind of thing, where there were several times in our in Mercury Mambo, we walked right to the ledge, and it's like, okay, jump, and we had a parachute that came, and kind of with the soft landing, but that's what you have to do as an entrepreneur. There's those chances and those leads, and you have to be with someone. If you're lucky enough to have a partner, then you have to be with someone that you completely 100% trust, and because that's really what's gonna move you forward.
I love that, hanging out at the ledge and being comfortable there. Sometimes you do have to jump off and stay really close to it, but you got to really have a good relationship with the ledge, right?
Yeah,
so
you gotta have a relationship.
Good relationship with the ledge. So next question, one and two, there are always really great experiences and big rewards and some challenges that I'm sure you've experienced over the last 15 years. Can you share some of what you learned from both the rewards and the difficult parts?
Yeah. Well, you know what? One of our first lessons, and gosh, I can't even remember who told us. But I'm going to tell everybody I know about it. When we were talking about opening our business, or just within the first year, someone said you've got to pay yourself. You've got to put that in the budget. It is just as important as the budget for buying a chair and buying a computer and putting your salary in there. And here's why. It's not that you're taking money out of the business, but what it does, not only does it allow you, you keep your home, secure, but what it also does is it takes that money worry off your plate. Your personal money worry off your plate, because that is a part of that's one of the line items in the budget. And you don't make that decision; it's just going to be there, and so you don't have that fear of all of a sudden you're not going to, you have to decide whether you're going to get him going and feels more positive going with that. And don't get me wrong. There'll be times when our paycheck is a lot lower than we would like, and then sometimes it gets to be a little bit better. But that line item, at least that discussion about it, is always on that.
No, that's a really good point. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I do that myself, and there's a psychological value to that as well. So a lot of entrepreneurs that I talk to, whether they're individual or they have a partner, there's sometimes this feeling of isolation when they're trying to solve a problem. I know you have some strategies that have worked really well for you around building a support system. Tell us more about that.
Yeah. I will say the first, thing first piece of advice I give anybody is really to look for mentors, because they will help you in those moments where you feel, there are no answers and nobody else has gone through. Trust me, they have gone through that same exact situation. Really good advice. So we've been really lucky to have, two in particular, and probably there's a handful throughout that have of mentors that have really just helped guide us, helped us structure our books. One of them was so gracious. We were like, we're growing and we've got this many people, and we're not really sure financially, what should the books look like. We went into her office, and literally she showed us her entire P&L for the entire year. And we went line item by line item. How do you look at this? And what should be your red flags if it hits this? And that is kind of invaluable, and I feel like in a lot of businesses unheard of, where someone would actually show you their P&L. you always try to put up such a brave front, but at the end of the day, people, I feel like, want to help you.
People really do want to help you. I mean, you just have to ask it. The fear is with yourself. Like you don't, like Becky said, you don't want to kind of show that vulnerability. But you know what? It's not being vulnerable at all. It makes you, it empowers you, really.
Yeah.
And it brings you kind of somebody to you that like is cheering for you.
Everybody needs a cheerleader.
Everybody needs a cheerleader.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's great to have it's a big gift to have someone that was able to share in that way. It's a beautiful gift that they gave you. So, there are tons of business decisions, whether you have support or not. And some of them are the smartest ones that you look back and you realize were the smartest ones you made. And some of them, you have a little bit of regret with. Are there any that you can share both, that were smart and ones that are like, that wasn't such a great idea?
I'll say the smartest one that we make lots of smart decisions, but one of the smartest was our first hire was someone to manage our books. Clearly, you could see that our strengths based on my last answer, but I think hiring that first person is oftentimes really difficult for entrepreneurs because it's, oh my gosh, now I have to pay somebody else, and there's a big responsibility that comes with that, and then. For us, oftentimes that person was making more money than we were. Liz said it's important to have a salary, but you're also managing your business. So when we made that first hire, we filled that void in terms of our strengths. So fill your weaknesses first, and then build from there. So you can't really build a foundation if you've got cracks in it. So that would be kind of one of the first things.
I think another smart thing for any business to do is, their office space. If there's a chance or an opportunity or to buy your office space, and either it allows you to grow into it, or then there's always chances for rental pieces of the office space. I think that was one of the good decisions to invest in the real estate piece of it, and just look at it as mortgage. It's just like either you're going to pay rent or you're going to have a mortgage. When you get that mortgage, it's just like this is what we're doing. So it felt good to do that, and we're really glad. We feel like that was a smart decision.
And then I would say, in terms of maybe some not so smart decisions, I think for me they've come more around trusting my intuition. Whether it be in an employee hire, that I hire someone on the wrong intention or to fill the wrong position, and in my head I kind of knew that wasn't going to be the right fit. I needed to have this type of person, for whatever reason. You're a lot. I feel like we need to give ourselves more credit, tuition that we oftentimes may or may not listen to.
Yeah. Yep. Good point.
That is true. That's a lifelong practice, I think, but it's really key that I hear many times from successful entrepreneurs. So, in the client service business, client relationships are our lifeblood, and I know the two of you really excel in building and nurturing sustainable client relationships. Can you give us any of your secrets to success around really kind of cultivating those relationships?
Yeah, I would say, cultivating a relationship is that showing up authentic, and people are people at the end of the day, regardless of if they're a brand manager or hold a large budget, and people are still people, and way has, a lot of our clients and a lot of our people that we work with, vendors, they're lifelong friends, and they become part of the team, and we're all in this together, and it's just being there, working with them really closely, and then once you do that, then that trust comes in, and all the other elements come into being. So relationships are very, very, very important to us.
Yeah, and I would say that another secret, that I think is a secret to our success is that client relationships, we really see our job as to we ask ourselves, what can we do to make them successful?
Yeah.
Not what can we do to prove that we're right or that we're the smartest or most creative or that we can spend the most money, but what can we do to make that client who put his trust in us or her trust in us the most successful client possible? And whenever we get a chance to, speak with their boss or their boss's boss, we always ask that question about our direct client contact. What do you think that we could do to help make so-and-so more successful in their job? Because if they're successful, business grows, and then with that, budgets grow and more responsibilities, grow, and hopefully more projects come our way.
Yeah. It's kind of, it's putting the ego aside. There's not any room for ego, in my opinion, in any business, but particularly when you're with any service industry. Because not who did it better, it's what we did together.
So let's talk about what you're seeing are some trends in the industry. How do you see your business evolving, growing? What are you seeing in the marketplace?
Yeah, it's a great time to be in the multicultural space. I'm just going to say that first and foremost. With the growing demographics, the millennial focus that a lot of brands and companies are putting the attention that they're playing on this market, if they're not leading with a multicultural insight, they may be missing the boat. So that really becomes the story that we tell to our clients, and the numbers will prove it out. So it's no longer the right thing to do from a politically correct standpoint. It's a good business decision. So it's an exciting time to be able to tell that story. So those are some exciting trends. We're seeing a lot of movement in terms of women leadership within companies. We just came back from the Outdoor Industry Winter Summit, which is the largest trade show for retailers and brands in the winter and outdoor sports categories. And it just kind of blew our minds in terms of women playing significant leadership roles within companies like Patagonia, and REI's former CEO was a female. And not only that they've risen to that level, but that the industry overall is putting, all of their efforts around building
and that's just one industry. And don't have the opportunity to go to a ton of other industries. But if each industry can just look at that, and just it just has to be on the table. It has to be a part of the decision. You can decide whether not to do it for other business reasons, but it just has to be part of the discussion for sure. It's a good business decision, women as well as multicultural.
Awesome. So on a personal level, where have you seen culture kind of show up in your work experiences, and how have you kind of maneuvered around it and used it to your benefit? So why don't I just ask you another question. On a personal level, where have you seen culture show up in your experiences, and how can you share how you've kind of maneuvered around that in your journey?
Yeah, for me, I feel really passionate about this. For me, when culture shows up, it shows up to me as an opportunity. So one really great example, and an opportunity that I leverage to the hilt. So one great example is oftentimes we'll be approached to sit on nonprofit boards. And, you kind of find out the reason. It's because, they need more diversity, so let's go to the Latina businesswoman and bring her in. And that may be the reason that I'm invited to the table, but I'm going to use that reason, kick open the door, and I'm going to make myself known at that table, because, and I think everybody should when presented an opportunity, or to use their, their cultural
leverage,
cultural leverage or cultural currency to kind of push open some doors that they may have felt weren't open to them in the past. And I think nonprofit boards across the country, as well as for-profit boards across the country, are desperately searching for diversity within their boards. So I think we've got an incredible talent pool available, and an incredible opportunity to say, yeah, you're right. You know, I'm Hispanic. I'm going to bring a different perspective than, you know, someone that doesn't have that cultural experience that we do.
And it opens the door. I mean, yes, it taps on the door for that business to be more, look at diversity. But guess what? I mean, that's how it happens forward. But what happens behind you is that you open the door for so many other people too. I mean, then when diversity becomes around the table, there's going to have other people get a chance to do the same thing, and that's what's exciting. I mean, that's what the roundtables are all about, is that conversation, to be a part of the conversation.
Awesome. So our final question that we always ask our Thrive Talk guests is, from each of you, what would you say that you use or that you do to help you thrive in your career?
Oh gosh. So, personally, I mean, what helps me thrive is getting out on my bike or getting out on the golf course. That's kind of, it brings me back to here's what it's all about. You know, getting back in touch with nature, being outdoors, and kind of gets my head kind of recalibrated.
Yeah. I completely agree with that, but I'd also say what makes me thrive is surrounding myself with really smart people, and I definitely make that a point here at the agency to surround ourselves with really great people, but also going out and just share experiences.
Yeah, share experiences, and part of our agency too is we spend a considerable time with nonprofits. And not only as our business, but also, we encourage everyone to go out and do volunteer work, and go out, and because that's as well. Yeah.
You want to give a shout out to any of them?
Sure. We'll definitely shout out to Safe Place, which is a center here that supports domestic violence victims, and we're actually going to be doing a walk for them February 22nd. So if you're in Austin, come join us. We do a lot of work with Aid Services Austin. We do a lot of work with the Austin Child Guidance Center.
Yeah, we do some work with the Long Center, which is the kind of the cultural hub of the city of Austin, and
as well as the United Way for Greater Austin.
Very nice. Well, thank you, ladies, for joining us for another episode of Thrive Talk, and I'm sure you'll be willing to answer any of the questions that pop up with our Thrive community. Any parting words?
Wow, just get out and say.
Yeah, get out there and thrive. We love.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. Join us next Friday for another Thrive Talk. We will have a great new personal marketing coach we're very excited about. Thank you all. We look forward to it. Enjoy the game. Let's comment on these ads that are probably pretty crazy, but enjoy the day. Take care.